If there's breaking news about extraterrestrial intelligence, generally I'm all over it. I think that's fairly typical. Do you know anyone who isn't fascinated by new developments in alien intelligence? So I know that a lot of you are still trying to digest the latest on the Fermi paradox and the Drake equation. There's a new approach you may have heard of that's been getting a lot of attention. And I know it's disheartening. It bothers me a lot. I can't change the math. But what I can do is to try to put into words what's at stake for me, and to at least articulate my reactions in the hope that it may help someone else. Let's do an ultra quick overview of the Fermi paradox, the Drake equation, and a couple of sentences on the latest paper. And then I'll tell you how I'm coping with it all. The Fermi paradox is the name given to the question of where are all the aliens? Physicist Enrico Fermi is said to have exclaimed over lunch with colleagues in 1950, "Where is everybody?" By which all present understood him to have meant that if intelligent extraterrestrials exist, we should have evidence of them. One version of the argument is that intelligent aliens using slow rocket technology would have been able to visit the entire galaxy in 10 million years. And given the vast number of planets in the galaxy and its extreme age now estimated at 12 to 13 billion years, Fermi thought it was striking that we have absolutely no evidence for extraterrestrial intelligence. So either it doesn't exist or there's some explanation. And while I won't review these in detail here, there have been many proposals, including that communication or interpretation of signals is very difficult, that we are missing some factor in our thinking that makes the origin of life or of intelligent life much less likely than it may appear, that we are living in a kind of zoo, an experiment where our intelligent zookeepers are deliberately concealing their presence, that it's too early and we're the first intelligent species to evolve, that intelligent life tends to destroy itself, and that due to our recent capacity for destruction on a massive scale, we ourselves have just entered that crucial phase in the lifespan of an intelligent civilization in which we may or may not destroy ourselves. And many other ideas, some of them more cheerful. Now, the Drake equation is an equation proposed by astronomer Frank Drake in 1961 as a way to estimate the number of intelligent civilizations in our galaxy. But you don't have to memorize it. And if you're a sophisticated astrophysicist or astrobiologist, let me remind you that none of my videos are meant to be technical expert overviews of any topic. They're commentary, educational, and in my wildest dreams, mildly entertaining. So, looking at the equation, n is the number of civilizations in our galaxy with which communication might be possible. R is the average rate of star formation in our galaxy. F sub p is the fraction of those stars that have planets. N sub e is the average number of planets that can potentially support life per star that has planets. F sub l is the fraction of planets that could support life that actually develop life at some point. F sub I is the fraction of planets with life that actually go on to develop intelligent life. F sub c is the fraction of civilizations that releases detectable signs of their existence into space. And L is the length of time over which such civilizations release detectable signals into space. I've already made a video about why I think life exists on many planets outside Earth, but that was about life in general. So I've argued that F sub L is probably not an insignificant number. But this is about something else. This is about intelligent life. Several of the factors are known, especially the last few are not known at all. We don't know how many life-bearing planets go on to produce intelligent life. We don't know how many intelligent species go on to release information into space about their existence, nor how long they tend to do so. So speculation and argumentation about these unknown numbers produce vastly different estimates of n, the number of intelligent species within our galaxy. We know it happened once, here on Earth, but whether it happened anywhere else is unknown, either from observations or from plausible estimates using the Drake equation. Okay, so now there's a new take, and it's a pessimistic one. Or optimistic if you're concerned about aliens arriving and enslaving humanity, or eating us. If you're looking for the paper and the arguments, check the notes. But suffice it to say that the math looks good and many smart math and physics people are accepting or admiring of its probabilistic approach. This recent paper assigns probabilities to each variable and runs a distribution of values rather than a single estimate for each variable. Whether it's right or wrong, there's a clear improvement in the mathematics here. The result is sobering. They conclude that there is somewhere between a 53 to 99.6% chance that we are the only intelligent species in our galaxy, and that in the entire observable universe that there is a 39 to 85% chance that we are the only intelligent civilization. So the Fermi paradox is not a paradox at all by this way of seeing things. We have no evidence of intelligent extraterrestrials because they don't exist. My reaction to this is odd. I don't believe it. But why should that be? I'm someone who is convinced by numbers and statistics. I don't worry about a plane crashing because the numbers so strongly argue against it. I like numbers. Some of my best friends are numbers. So what's going on? I tell myself the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence isn't going to be resolved by statistics. After all, we need only one example in the entire universe, and it changes everything. And what good is a statistical approach if we still have no real data on the relevant variables? Maybe the Drake equation isn't so great. Maybe it was never intended to provide a real answer, but as a way to start thinking about the question, as a stimulus to thought and research. After all, it's never been much more than a back-of-the-envelope estimation game, and all the old objections are unchanged. Maybe extraterrestrials want to hide their presence. Maybe we limit the scope by looking only at planets, and thus at intelligences that are somewhat like ours, planetary intelligences. Some people argue that forms of intelligence we can't conceive of might exist on the surfaces of stars, for example. Or maybe intelligent life is different enough that we have great difficulty recognizing it. So I think those things. But there's another possibility, and it's more troubling, although entirely human. Maybe I don't believe it because I don't want to. Maybe I reject it on emotional grounds. I mean, look at the implications. If it's true that there's a reasonable likelihood that we're alone, then it's just us in the vast deep of space. No one else gazes at the universe with any understanding. Does that bother you? Does that make you sad? Why does it bother me? The fact of being alone is part of it, but there's more to it than that. It means there's no one else to talk to, ever. This is all one long monologue with ourselves. And however unlikely it is that we will ever meet, let's call them other people, at least if they exist, the possibility somewhere, somehow, sometime is there. Maybe they have answers to our deepest mysteries that we don't have. Maybe they have a kind of mind and intelligence that we can't conceive of, so that maybe one exchange with them rather than only with ourselves would be like being stranded on an island for 10,000 years and suddenly a ship arrives. Well, that's probably a bad analogy because every time an uncontacted people here on Earth has been contacted, it's either meant the end of that culture or radical acculturation. Anyway, I suspect that I don't want to hear that there are no alien intelligences because it means that we're alone and we'll never know these people who never existed in the first place. So it's not their deaths that I grieve, but their absence. And it means that any understanding or progress in solving the great mysteries of life and consciousness and death and existence falls squarely and only on our shoulders. We will get no help, ever. You may have assumed that all along, but I like to think that despite the vast distances, the colossal disparities in space and time, that we will one day talk to an extraterrestrial intelligence. And a questionable mathematics of probability hasn't cured me of that yet. If you've been feeling bad about this lately too, I hope that helps. Be sure to subscribe, and thanks a lot for watching.